Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. I appreciate you all clicking on this video and maybe spend a little time with me. I got a fun one for you. We are going to be, going after one of my favorite people to go after. If you watch the channel, you might know who I'm talking about. But actually, it's one of two people. I usually, but this one is about Ryan Ankrom. He's really full of shit. He gives really bad advice. And what really gets me is that the majority of his audience are children. And they don't know any better. So honestly, I feel, a pretty serious responsibility to call this dude out and really just break down what he says to show you that it doesn't make any sense. Like, what he's talking about literally makes no sense. And what really bothers me is the video that we're going to be reacting to has 21,000 views and, over 1,000 likes. So that means at least, 1,100 people or so were like, yeah, this is sick. Like, this is really good information. And that really bothers me because it's honestly terrible, terrible advice. So without further ado, we're going to get on into this. And wait, before I forget, to all my subscribers, I appreciate all the likes and comments I've been getting, everything like that. You guys are the best. I really appreciate you. If you do like this video and you're not subscribed, consider it, man. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to hop into this. The title of the video is The Comeback Episode 2, My Entire Anabolic Cycle Breakdown. And okay, so we're going to skip around a little bit in this because, to be honest, some of the stuff's not that bad. Like, when he's talking about actual steroids, it's not that bad. But we're going to get into what makes it so terrible. So first, actually, I want to find, there is a part in here in the beginning where he's like, testosterone needs to be the basis of every single cycle. Like, you can't use androgens without testosterone. And it's like, dude, in almost every other video you say you can use SARMs, without testosterone. Like, somehow SARMs aren't androgens. It's ridiculous, even though it's in the name. SARM, selective androgen receptor modulator. It's like, come on, man. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to play this clip so you could hear him lie. And then he tries to save himself. He's like, oh, SARMs aren't... You'll see.
Mindset, drink your water, do your squats, eat some ass, mind your business. Mark it down. How did this get up here?
Alright, you're not funny, dude.
Weak cycle, kind of all incumbent. Now, next up on the list is going to be EQ. Now, next up on whatever it is you prefer, but you need to have testosterone.
Here we go.
I'm going to go over all my ancillary shit. So let's start with oil. You always want to have testosterone as your base. Whenever you're doing anabolics, you need to have testosterone as your base, no matter what. If I hear guys trying to do orals only because they don't want a pen, and if you can't inject yourself, then the steroid game is just not for you.
Come on. Like, come on, man. He literally, that is contradicting so many things that he's already said in previous videos and what he preaches because he owns a SARMs company. Like, he makes money when children take SARMs thinking that they don't need test or, it's safe and it's not going to suppress their natural testosterone. He's a liar, man. He's probably hurting a lot of kids out there. Really think this guy's a scumbag. All right, so we're going to move on. So his oils, actually, I don't really have a problem with. I believe he puts in Test, EQ, and Tren, which, to be honest, is exactly what I would suggest to someone. He doesn't run them long enough because he's an idiot. I want to get to where he talks about Tren. He does it for like 10 weeks or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, okay, here we go.
Plenty enough. Whenever you're running a compound like Tren, you don't really need to throw in just kind of like, how do I say this? Like, inferior oils to it because the Tren will outshine it. The Tren is so strong, and they say it's true. 5 times stronger than testosterone.
That's not true.
Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it is obviously one of the strongest steroids out there.
Yes.
So to start with, SUST, EQ, Tren Ace, and I'm starting them all off at day 1.
Great.
Now, I'm obviously not going to be running Tren for the entire 20 weeks. That's
obviously
way too long. So for week 1 through 10, I'm going to be doing Tren Ace, and that will fall off and the EQ and the sus will go on for
20
the
weeks.
entire.
Okay, great. Okay, listen, this is already where he's going wrong. He's setting a timeline before he's even started this shit. Doesn't make any sense. You don't know how long you're going to run a compound for because you don't know how you're reacting to it, right? Like, the new way of doing things and the better way of doing things is you get on-cycle blood work. So you see what's going on, make sure you're still healthy, and as long as you're healthy, you can continue the cycle. Like, you don't have to set this like, 10 weeks for trend because after that I'm just going to start dying. How would you know? You have no idea. If you want to say after 10 weeks on trend, I'm going to go get my blood work, I think that's reasonable. But to set these arbitrary time frames for like how long you're going to run a certain compound is just silly. It makes no sense. It just goes to show he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it gets way worse. Just wait, guys. Seriously, buckle in. It's about to get really bad. The next section is
20 weeks.
Okay.
All right, so next up are my...
Okay, this is where he starts talking about his orals, and he's talking... Just wait.
5 milligrams a day.
That's too
now,
much.
The only reason why I'm throwing Anavar in there is because off the rip here, I'm going to recomp a little bit, and then once I get in the program a few weeks, and that's when I up my food, and then that will kind of keep me tight. It'll get some of this fat off of me.
No.
That way I'm not just doing an ugly bulk because I hold my weight super ugly.
No, it's just a misunderstanding of how Anavar works. It's just so bad. Like, Anavar is not a fat burner. Not at all. It's still prescribed medically today, and it's for muscle wasting diseases. So what it's going to allow you to do is hold on to muscle in a deficit. It will also make you slightly stronger in the gym, but this is nonsense. You do not need Anavar in this cycle, especially with the trend. Like, at 75 mgs a day too, that's pretty liver toxic and unnecessary. You can run, 25, 50 mgs Anavar, be much better off. You can actually run like 2.5, 5 milligrams a day of Anavar for years on end and also be totally fine. A lot of women do that. But either way, this makes no sense. Again, like, what his logic is nonsense. It doesn't make sense. Anavar is not going to burn fat. Like, it's not going to do what he thinks it's going to do. And I don't, where did he get 75 mgs? Like, who told him to run 75? I don't get it. That's where he starts too. It's not even titrate up. It's like, no, 75 mgs every day, Anavar.
So I have to do this in the right way. So if I were to start out and just start bulking, like if I threw D-ball in there or Anadrol, it would just make me super fat. I'd hold a lot of water.
No. Those compounds don't make you fat. They make you hold water. And if you're already fat, they make you look like shit. But they don't make you fat. This is just absurd. Actually, Anadrol burns fat. Like, it is a very, again, well-studied compound. Just put a video out about Anadrol. It burns fat. So, like, God, he just has no idea what he's talking about. And it really bothers me, man, because he even, like, sells this book about, like, how to use gear. It's like, the man doesn't even know himself.
This wouldn't be good for nobody. So, to start off, Anavar, 75 milligrams a day for week 1 through 8, and that's going to keep me tight. It's going to keep me hard. It's going to let me keep me hard. It's going to help me lose a little weight and really kick off this recomp in the right direction.
That's not true, dude. That's what the trend is for, my friend.
The next orals that I have up are going to be...
Guys, this is, like, when he started getting into this part is when I was like, okay, I'm making a video. I can't let this go. We're going to get to it, but this is where he starts talking about the SARMs that he's adding in to this cycle, which makes no sense because, all right, let me put this pretty simply. SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators, have a really high binding affinity for the androgen receptors in our bodies and our brains, etc. So what that means is that they're going to get first dibs on those receptors, right? They're going to be there way before the test gets there. So what does this mean? It means you're going to have a ton of tests just floating around in the body, converting into DHT, converting into estrogen, giving you all kinds of side effects. So really, like, when you're running high doses, like that 600 milligrams a week of sus, you really don't want to put any SARM in there. It makes no sense. Really, it doesn't.
SARMs. If you didn't know, what you should know, and if you don't, now you know that.
It's because he sells them.
I'm a SARM fan. If you need any help with that,
See?
Right there on the screen.
Exactly.
Give him a shout. He can get you literally whatever you want. Hit him up. All right, there's my shameless plug. So, to start with, I'm going to be doing Rad 140 for 15 milligrams a day.
That's actually like a pretty high dose. It's definitely high enough to throw off everything else going on in his body with all that test, DQ, and tren. So you already run into the problem with test and tren that tren, believe it or not, actually is a selective androgen receptor modulator. So what that means, again, is it has a higher binding affinity for the androgen receptors in your body than testosterone does. So he basically, by adding these SARMs in, he's just going to have ridiculous conversion going on of testosterone down to DHT, down to estrogen. This is honestly like a recipe for side effects. This is like one of the worst cycle designs I've ever seen.
If you're doing all this other shit, why do you need SARMs on top of it?
Because I sell them and I want you to buy them.
Well, because SARMs do a lot more than just kind of cut you up or make you big. For instance, Rad 140, yes, it's a good lean bulker, but it's also good for other things. It's really good for your prostate, which the testosterone could make your prostate grow, and the Rad will help kind of keep that at bay.
Maybe.
And it's also good at helping anabolics hit their pathways.
See, this is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. What does that even mean? It's good at helping anabolics hit their pathways? What on earth are you talking about? I think he has this very confused in that, like I said, SARMs, specifically Rad 140, has an incredibly high binding affinity for the AR. So it's not going to help test get to the AR. It's actually going to boot it off the AR. So, like, what he just said is actually wrong. Like, 100% wrong. 0 sense.
So, you're taking all this shit, and the Rad is going to kind of help it get where it needs to go.
No.
Next up, I have Cardarine at 20 milligrams a
No
day.
problem with that.
I am taking Cardarine because I do like the metabolism boost you get on it, but it's also very good
helpful
for your cholesterol.
No, it actually, okay, and this has been proven by Tony Huge. It's not strong enough to have an impact on your cholesterol when you're running serious compounds, especially like tren. It's not going to help his lipids. What it will do, and why I actually like sometimes when my clients take Cardarine, during their cycles, especially when they're on tren, is it can help combat. Sometimes people get a little short of breath on tren, and sometimes it makes doing cardio a little bit harder. You add this in, it will definitely help that significantly, which, then in turn helps you burn more calories, helps you work out harder, you're going to build more muscle. So this is not a bad addition, but he just doesn't understand why he's even adding it.
Now, what could mess with your cholesterol? Your boy Tren Ace there.
Exactly. What did I just say? It's not strong enough to reverse the negative effects that tren has on your lipids. It's just not. It's been studied. It's been proven. Tony Huge looked into this.
Your cholesterol. So the Cardarine will help keep that at bay, keep me healthy. That way I make it through this entire cycle without keeling over. Next up is Ostarine, and that is at 20 milligrams a day. So Ostarine and Cardarine, they're
just wrecking his liver. There is 0 reason for Ostarine in the site. That is so stupid.
Both at 20 milligrams a day. Ostarine really isn't going to do much for my physique. It's going to be outshined by kind of everything else. But
you think?
It's going to be good for my joints.
No.
And it's also going to be good for my insulin sensitivity.
Oh my God,
no,
it's not.
I do kind of have a bit of that problem, which I'll go over later. But those are going to be my orals on this.
That's so
nothing
stupid.
Too crazy, nothing too liver toxic.
Are you
kidding? The only one that could be a little bit is the Anavar.
Are you serious? Did that man just say that none of those are liver toxic and the only one that could be would be the Anavar? Dude, you gotta know that's not true, man. Ostarine is notoriously liver toxic. I have seen some blood works with people on Ostarine only cycles, and their values are through the roof, my friend. Anavar also is one of the least harsh oral compounds in terms of hepatotoxicity. So, like I said, guys, everything in this video that this man is saying is basically wrong. His only good advice would be that, the injectable cycle. I see nothing wrong with that, but just add nothing else he's talking about. If he just shut up after that, I'd be like, okay. But he had to keep talking.
That's something for that. Let's move on. Oh, and first up, the Rad, the Cardarine, and the Ostarine will be ran for 12 weeks. And then I will cut that off because since I'm only running the tren for 10 weeks, Once I get off of that, I should be good the rest of my cycle, side effect wise. All right, so moving on, we are going into my AIs, my aromatase inhibitors. When it comes to all of this stuff, I am decently estrosensitive. You know, if I'm on.
Honestly, guys, I'm going to be doing a video here shortly on when to use an AI, you know, and if they're necessary to run on every cycle. The short answer is no, absolutely not. There's only one time when you should use an AI, and that's when you're experiencing estrogenic side effects. If you're not experiencing the side effects, then don't fucking take an AI. It's just, there's no reason. You're just adding, you know, oil to the fire, I guess. Another drug that you just don't need, right? If you don't need it, don't take it. It's a good thing to be prepared and have it on hand, but I mean, honestly, it's pretty common, guys, that dudes can run, you know, 500 megs of test a week with no AI, including myself. So, you know, it's not a guarantee that you're going to need an AI. You got to experiment with your body and figure it out for yourself.
Typically my prolactin rises if I let it go too long.
Also, that's another thing. Big Paul, on the channel, what's his channel? God, I love Big Paul, but anabolic bodybuilding, that guy, Big Paul. But he talks about this too, where in all the blood work he's ever seen, prolactin never rises from 19 Nors. Like, it just doesn't happen. So more often than not, it's like a genetic predisposition that the person has. So it's very rare that you're going to need like Prami or Caber on 19 Nors. Like, the only thing that, I mean, you're not going to develop breast tissue, like, for sure you're not. What might happen is you could lactate, I guess, potentially. But, again, you're not going to get gyno from 19 Nors. So, the AIs, like, I'm just not even really sure why he's using AIs. I think he mentions that he gets Caber in there or something, which, again, terrible choice. Use Prami. But, I don't know. I'm going to let him keep talking and see what other stupid things he says. Here we go.
I could even lactate. Yes, if I do trend, you could milk me. I want to keep my prolactin and my estrogen right where they need to be. Not too high, not too low.
And also, don't take Caber or Prami. Anyway, start with P5P. It's an over-the-counter supplement. It's a vitamin, and it also is pretty effective in lowering prolactin. So start there. Don't be taking these crazy drugs. Like, Prami and Caber are no joke.
However, EQ is going to be a natural AI. It will keep your estrogen at a good level.
Kinda.
So, since I've never ran it before, I just don't want to wholeheartedly count on EQ.
Dude, this man's never ran EQ and is giving us advice on steroids. I just, like, he wrote a book on steroids. This is the first time he's ever run EQ. God damn it. What is wrong? What is wrong with the world, right?
I'm not starting out on anything, but I am going to keep stuff on hand. I have Aromatase on hand just in case. So if I have
it's good to have it on hand.
I can toss that in there. 12.5 milligrams every single night until my sides go away, and then I can kind of reevaluate from there.
He talks about adding in HCG to the cycle, which is just nonsense. Like, why are you doing this? What else? Is there anything else important? Yeah, he's going to be doing L-carnitine. It's like, just stupid, man. I think that's basically the entire video. So, you know, just to recap here, the oils, not terrible, right? Test, EQ, trend, great choices. The orals, it's just like, this makes me feel like he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. When you're combining Anavar, Rad 140, and Ostarine, again, I don't mind the Cardarine, but Ostarine, Rad 140 together with Anavar, like, the combination of those is definitely going to be liver toxic, my friend. He's like, maybe the Anavar will be a little liver toxic. Jesus, man. Don't trust this guy. Please don't trust this guy. That is my message to all of you. Hey, if you made it this far, I love and appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate the likes, the comments, everything. Until the next time, peace out, guys. Stay swole.